There's a quote from Socrates, speaking of philosophers. He said, "Cybernetics saves ships, goods, and lives." And by cybernetics, he meant the steersman of the ship. And that term was adopted by a scientist named Ampère, whose name we use to signify electrical current. He was an early electrical researcher. So at the time of the French Revolution, he proposed using the term cybernetics for statecraft, the art of guiding the ship of state, which fits in exactly with what Plato was all about. His culminating books are the Laws and the Politics. You know, he saw everything in the context of, wow, okay, how do we manage this unruly mob? You know, he was not fond of democracy. He thought there could be these enlightened few who have been cultivated, who've gone to Plato's school and learned all about the truth.
Yeah.
Not like that unruly mob, you know, those guys. So did we have enough politics?
Yeah, I'm not so interested in politics.
Yeah, but if we all figure out we're the same person,
Yes.
and we can realize that in the flesh,
Yes.
then probably we might be in a better position to get along.
Okay, yes.
So that has to do with politics.
Yes.
And the other thing about politics, it does not stay divorced from theology.
How so?
Religion and politics are like twins joined at the hips, joined at birth. Castor and Pollux, Cain and Abel, Shem and Shan. Back to the monasticism.
Yes.
The intentional community. What is going to join people in an intentional community that will stick together, that will have a chance of actually holding together? If it's a charismatic individual leader, that's only as good as long as they don't go completely insane, which does tend to happen to charismatic leaders of intentional communities in isolated circumstances. Yeah, it's just not a good recipe. So what's going to hold it together? Maybe a charismatic individual person who isn't there.
Yeah.
Oh, he had to go. Oh, they killed him a long time ago. Oh, he's much bigger than that. He's more cosmic. I don't know. Something.
Well, a machine. Yeah.
A machine.
Yeah.
Now, that's...
What was the line? All watched over
by machines of loving grace. Yeah, no, that would be the realization of the Godhead in the flesh. Sure. And this gets to Marshall McLuhan was a Christian and had a powerful conversion experience, which was essentially he had this sudden illumination that ordinary perception is the incarnation. The Christians have this doctrine of incarnation, that God becomes flesh, God becomes man. Now, in the person of Jesus Christ, okay, that's their story, but just, it is the nature of human empathic understanding. To understand anything, we have to be identified, self-identified with the thing that we are understanding. So in that sense, any object of our discernment or attention that's me.
Mm-hmm.
And the incarnation, just hearing that word, certainly some of those little entelechies I was talking about, the ones that contribute to understanding and perception and so on, that are little tiny swirling monadic little entities, conscious entities, little sentient entities, which make up my sentience. Certainly some of those do not understand the use of any word in a limited context, but they understand it in all contexts, all at once, in the plural potentiality of being, of possible being. That's what's sort of on the other side of that flimsiest of screens that William James would talk about. This term incarnation can't be heard without it evoking at some level below consciousness or above consciousness, above the waterline of consciousness. But at some point, it's going to be understood as my incarnation. And there's that wonderful science fiction story, very short story, by Terry Bisson called They're Made Out of Meat. So we're made out of meat. Mm-hmm. And we are the incarnation of the Godhead as meat. Yes.
This water level.
The threshold of consciousness.
Yeah, it reminded me of that event that I told you about that was so huge for me on the beach.
Right. Yes.
Where I could, I was in that lake, all alone, late afternoon, nobody around. I swam to the middle of the lake, and then I was surrounded by woods, and that was it. And the water was very quiet, and everything was still. And I leveled my eyes with the surface. Never had that perspective before, right?
You're right at the half and half.
Close and far.
Yeah. Yes.
In my eye at the same time.
Yes.
And I was trying to imagine how would it be if I was all alone in the world.
Right.
Meaning the only human in the world. And I couldn't imagine it. And I couldn't imagine it because it cannot be.
That's right.
And why? The consciousness. If I was the only human on the planet, I would not be conscious. It would not be possible.
Right.
And then I was thinking about it, but this is me thinking. But still this half contemplative thinking that it is a social thing. So that was
it's beautiful.
That was a very interesting experience that stayed with me.
And it seemed like my favorite word, synecdoche, the idea that you're right at this waterline, you're right at the midpoint between the unconscious and the conscious, and between the near and the far.
I just had perfect conditions for that contemplation.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to remark on this experience with the lake and this discovery of the codependence with all people. A couple of things. One was just in the wonderful world of the future, if people are able to take on this global consciousness of simultaneity, being everybody, being everything, being the sum toto of it all, what does that do to solipsism? It's a joke, kind of. It flips between Well, it's the identity of nothing and everything again.
You know, with my Swedish beach event,
Yeah,
it did change something.
yeah,
When I think about death,
right.
I think,
No,
well, I'm not going to die because other people are going to stay
Yes.
alive.
yeah,
Just one instance of that, and it goes on.
it goes on.
It did change my view internally.
Yeah. Nothing ends.